So today we are going to do a tutorial for making a headline fly out from the main body. So first what we need to do is get a headline of some kind or whatever you want. I just pulled this screen grab off of CNN.com and I'm just going to throw that down onto our timeline so it's there. And now what we're going to do is select it, press Shift Option, and drag it up to the second layer so that way it's on top of itself. Now the trick with this is to take your top layer and crop it down so that way it's only showing what you want to fly out. So if we disable this bottom layer here, double click the top one, go into motion and crop. Let's say that we want vanished to fly, or let's say flight 307. We crop it so that way it just says flight 370. Let's even kill the question mark at the top and the bottom. So now flight 370 is all by itself, but if we turn the first track back on, we can't even tell that it's not there. So now that we've isolated what we want to fly out, we need to actually make it fly out. Now the important thing to remember is to make sure that you have your top track double clicked, go into motion, and we're going to keyframe it. So let's say we want it to fly out in 15 keyframes, meaning that we want it to go from regular size to large size in 15 keyframes. We don't place our first keyframe until we want it to start. So if we want to leave it for 2 seconds just normal, we move 2 seconds along in the timeline, and then we press Control K to place our first keyframe, so we're telling it I want it to start there. And then we move over 15 keyframes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, to Control K again, and now on this keyframe, we scale it up so that way it gets bigger, and we move it into the middle, maybe make it even a little bit bigger, and now we're telling it from our first keyframe to our second keyframe, you need to change from whatever the motion sets were at the first keyframe to the second keyframe. But notice that doesn't start until that first keyframe hits. And that's what's important. The change is going to happen between the first keyframe and the second keyframe. So if you would place the first keyframe all the way at the very top, it wouldn't start. It would start at the very, very top. You wouldn't have those couple of seconds of just regular, headline. So once we play it down, it's playing, oh man, flight 370. And that's it. That's really all it takes to make a title fly out. And if you wanted to, when it starts flying out, if you want to get fancy with it, you could put a blur onto the bottom, so just like a regular, Gaussian blur, and put a transition on there, so that way, as it starts to fly out, we see the important thing, but that's if you feel like it. What we really are focusing on today is getting on the mechanics of flying out. And that's it. I hope you learned something.